Italtile says it's beginning to see some green shoots, releasing a voluntary sales update for the 5 months ended November. The tile manufacturer commented that the first half of the review period was characterized by subdued consumer confidence and spend in the building and construction sector. But this changed in the latter part of the period. That's as disposable income increased thanks to 2 interest rate cuts and lower inflation. And so overall system-wide retail turnover rose 2.2%. Italtile is expected to release half-year results in March. Sibanye-Stillwater sold its Beatrix 4 shaft. The deal, which includes the Besa uranium project, is worth 500 million rand. Half of that is made up of cash and the rest in newly issued shares in Neo Energy, the firm that bought the asset. Beatrix 4 shaft was placed on care and maintenance by Sibanye in 2023 due to declining gold reserves and a depressed uranium price. But the tides turned and the outlook for the uranium market is now positive. Sibanye says the transaction allows it to maintain exposure to uranium production, immediately crystallizes value for its shareholders, and fast-tracks the possible development of the Besa uranium project without extending the group balance sheet. London-listed UK real estate investment trust supermarket Income Reit has been granted a secondary listing on the JSE. The firm's portfolio is made up of 73 properties valued at around £1.7 billion. These are let to established grocers such as Waitrose and Aldi. Supermarket Income Reit says the JSE listing will give the firm increased liquidity and tradability in the company's shares. It will also diversify its shareholder base and give the company the opportunity to raise further capital in a new market to fund further acquisitions. Transaction Capital has delayed the release of its annual results. The firm was supposed to open its books today, but says while the financials are ready, certain notes to the annual financial statements aren't because of changes relating to SA Taxi. The group did, however, provide a trading update with refreshed figures from the brief provided at the end of November. The firm's annual headline loss per share is seen widening by as much as 30%, while on a continuing basis, Transaction Capital expects to report a headline loss per share of as much as 18 cents. The company says it will publish audited results as soon as possible. Load-shedding may return as early as next month. That's according to boutique financial advisory firm Cresco. That's as the group eyes an electricity deficit. In the weekend of December the 1st, the energy availability factor dipped under 60%. That's after 7 consecutive weeks above that level and takes the average for the year to date to 60.1%. Eskom has previously stated that the lights will stay on so long as the availability of the utilities generation plant is at an annual average of 63%. Refueling problems at OR Tambo have brought flight movements to and from the airport to a standstill. Several flights have been delayed indefinitely, including Nairobi, Mauritius and Abu Dhabi. Airlines were alerted to the technical issue affecting OR Tambo's fueling infrastructure at 10 a.m., with the airport currently unable to provide fuel to aircraft. Flight Affairs warned the disruption is set to have a ripple effect across the country as planes destined for other routes await restoration of the fuel supply. In international news, South Korean shares logged the sharpest one-day decline since November 13 today, as political turmoil deepened after an impeachment motion against President Yoon Suk-yeol failed over the weekend. Here's more detail in this package report.
South Korean stocks took a fresh hit Monday, reacting to the country's deepening political turmoil. Over the weekend, President Yoon Suk-yeol survived a bid to impeach him over last week's short-lived declaration of martial law. But media reports say he has been named by prosecutors as the subject of a criminal investigation over the incident. And Yoon's own party, which boycotted the impeachment vote, says he will be excluded from his duties and pressed to step down. The country's benchmark Kospi stock index was down over 2% by early afternoon amid the chaos. Blue-chip names are among those to take a hit, with Samsung Electronics and Hyundai Motor both down around 1%. On currency markets, the Korean won traded broadly flat versus the dollar, having endured sharp falls during last week's drama. Over the weekend, Finance Minister Choi Sang-mok said the government was ready to act in the market.
무엇보다도 대외 신인도가 중요합니다.
He said maintaining credibility was the priority and vowed to work with the country's central bank to calm any volatility. Even so, tensions remain high, with uncertainty over Yoon's fate and his grip on power. On Monday, the Defence Ministry said he was still Commander-in-Chief and thus head of the armed forces. But multiple military officials and the acting Defence Minister all said they would refuse to obey any new order to impose martial law.
And U.S. President-elect Donald Trump says he will not try to replace Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell upon taking office in January. This is due to his promise to lower mortgage rates and other borrowing costs for U.S. households, setting up a possible clash with Powell. Here's more insight in this report.
Donald Trump says he won't try to oust Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. Speaking to NBC News in an interview that aired, the president-elect said he didn't think the central bank boss would agree to go. Trump campaigned on a promise to lower mortgage rates and other borrowing costs for U.S. households, setting up a possible clash with Powell.
And I will end inflation.
His promise of across-the-board tariffs could also complicate the Fed's bid to curb rising prices.
The American dream, gonna bring it back.
Last month, Powell said he would resist any bid to push him out, arguing that would be against the law.
I'll certainly serve to the end of my chair term.
He was appointed for the job by Trump during his first term as president. However, the relationship between the pair soon soured. In late 2018, Trump privately discussed trying to dismiss Powell, angered by an increase in interest rates. In 2020, at the start of the pandemic, he accused the Fed boss of making bad decisions and argued he had the right to replace him. Such attacks broke decades of political precedent, which held that presidents should refrain from direct attacks on the central bank. The Federal Reserve operates with legal independence, subject to oversight by Congress. Traders currently expected to cut interest rates at a December policy meeting, following data that showed the labor market continuing to cool.